essentially a garden. You know, I always say, you know, everyone has a garden in their own mind, whether it's an old mattress burnt out car in your front yard, or it's a manicured garden. But this is a natural garden, as far as I'm concerned. It's always a garden. So as long as we all enjoy our gardens, wherever those gardens are, I think that's the main purpose. I think the main purpose of what this talk is
about. We call ourselves Seaveney Marshes. It's effectively Walthamstow Marsh, which we're just on the north edge of here, Leighton Marsh, which is just south of that, and Hackney Marsh, which is over on the other side of the River Lee. Every direction you look in, on the edge, you've got these massive tower blocks. And so we're getting more and more of them being built up and overlooking the marshes, so we're completely losing any sense of being out in the country, because you can see you can see the city a bit, you can't get away from it.
When they say that there are environment laws, generally speaking, they can be encroached upon, simple as that. You know, we've had it in Tower Hamlets, it's been in all London boroughs. We have to try and preserve as much as we can of our urban nature, simple. We must really try and do that. And where Peter was saying they're encroaching, they shouldn't be building on the marshes here, but they just built a huge big ice centre. You know, but once you start a slippery slope, it starts going down and down and down. And so all you see around you are buildings, just a river going through. So we have to sort of try our best to try and preserve these. You know, the East London Garden Society does its best in trying to save trees and having campaigns to build forests, etc. in this part of London. So get involved if you can. If not, just listen out for all the news that we and other guys will put out to you.
So my name's Jen. I am the Walthamstow Wetlands manager. I work for London Wildlife Trust. We're not a park in its kind of usual definition. We're definitely a green space, but we're a nature reserve. So London Wildlife Trust looks after nature reserves across the whole of London. We are one of 36 sites and we're the biggest. So we have the title of being Europe's largest urban wetlands. That's mainly because we are a working reservoir site as well as being a nature reserve. So this map shows you, once you come past you'll be able to see it, but we are a site of two halves and we've got 10 working reservoirs on our site. These hold the drinking water for a third of London. There was a really hot summer in 1858 and it stank out the whole of London and it forced the politicians to leave the House of Parliament because it was that bad. And then, only then, did they take action, passed a load of bills to provide clean water and sanitation. And that was when these reservoirs started the plans came. And that's also when Sir Joseph Bazalgette started to build his amazing sewer system, which is still in use today. I know they're having to do lots of improvements, but it's still the same bricks that are letting our sewage go through. There has been a mill on this site, a water mill, since the Domesday Book. So since it's written in 1086 that there was a mill on this site, and so it's one of the oldest mills in London recorded. We all love a swift, don't we? We particularly love swifts because they tend to congregate here after they've flown in from sub-Saharan Africa, and we call this the Tinder of the swift world. This is, do we all know what Tinder is? An online dating site. So they come here to hook up. They don't come here to actually do the deed, but they come here to meet and decide who they like. It's like a bar basically. So sometimes in the morning the sky is absolutely full of swifts. You do have to get here early for that, particularly when it's an overcast day and it's forced the insect layer to kind of come lower and lower. And it's just like, it's almost like the sky is boiling. It's amazing. All the way around this site, there used to be old houses, old warehouses, like plonky buildings that have been there for decades, which had loads of lovely cracks in the roofs and nesting spots for swifts. But, you know, thus is progress. They've been flattened and buildings like this have sprung up, and they are not trying to encourage the swifts, sadly. We do have a consultancy arm at LWT that are trying to encourage any new development to think about these impacts. But as yet, the swifts have lost a huge amount of their original kind of breeding roosts. So we do encourage anybody, if you've got a spare bit of wall, go online and buy yourself a swift nest box, especially if you live in London, because London is a hotspot for swifts, and they need places, and the numbers are going to be declining all the time unless we turn this around. We've got some ponds, we've got some lovely education spaces that we look after, and we have a solid group of about 80 volunteers that come through on a weekly basis and come and give their time amazingly for free to help us look after it. We are always looking for more people to volunteer if anybody wants to do that. We also have volunteers helping us with our guided walks and talks. If anybody is a bit of an expert in dragonflies or bumblebees or birds, do get in touch if you're interested in lending your time and you're not too far away.